Hey, Randy Joe here, and welcome back to Soul September, where throughout the month of September, we've been listening to different soul albums. And today, of course, we're going to be updating things. We're going to be going a little bit more forward, considering we're covering a lot of classic 70s soul records. I thought we would jump a little bit forward for the next few and cover today Sade's 1992 record, Love Deluxe. Personally, have not listened to too much Sade before. I've never at least sat down and listened to a full Sade song. However, I have heard a couple of the tracks, especially Like a Tattoo, and probably No Ordinary Love given the amount of plays. And I remember enjoying Like a Tattoo when I had heard it. It's a pretty popular track, and I feel like it has a really great vibe from what I remember. And I feel like at the end of the day, that's what Sade goes for more than anything, is an atmosphere and a vibe. So, without further ado, this is 45 minutes, it's 8 tracks, and to many, this is one of the best albums of the 90s. So some high hopes here. Going into the opening track, No Ordinary Love, this is a 7-minute and 20-second track, which honestly, you know, nothing too crazy about a long track. We've seen our fair share of long tracks on here. But with 200 million streams at that length, that is a little shocking. It's hard for, I feel like, a musician to push the boundaries of length and still achieve a popularity such as that. But let's get into it with that track. And I know this is soul, but it's also R&B and maybe a little slight funk down to it. But that's what I kind of want to cover as well, is broaden the horizon of not just pure classic soul, but things that take influence of soul. She's got a very sensual kind of voice and delivery. Also a bit of a trip hop kind of influence on this one, which is quite popular back in the 90s. I like these guitars, adding a slight edge to the track. Oh, I don't think I've heard this one, but really powerful atmosphere. So palpable. Very sweet kind of lyrics too, very romance heavy, sensual, and lovey-dovey. I like all the kind of subtleties within this track. I mean, that feels like a staple of trip hop, is building an atmosphere full of like those little moments there. The pacing of this track, despite it being such a slow and kind of careful track, the entire atmosphere and the vibe really carry this track through its 7 minutes with like a sense of ease. You know, you kind of get lost in it. There's like a mellowness to it. I like this low simmer and that drum kind of riding us out there gently. Really nice intro, really beautiful, sets the tone perfectly. Honestly, great atmosphere throughout. Great voice. She has a gorgeous, really sensual, soulful, as expected, sort of tone that certainly kind of like hypnotizes you. It draws you in, and you kind of feel lost in her atmosphere. Which, honestly, shout out Sade, fantastic vocalist. But let's keep it going. Let's go into the next track here, of course, being Feel No Pain. Bit more of an eerie atmosphere with this one. Oh. bit more of a, I would say hip hop influence. Also feels more primal in its sound. It's like a hunger to it. This is about just kind of losing yourself in the music. The power of music, sort of. Maybe being therapeutic, I'm not too sure. Also, speaking of the kind of struggles of the economic times, I believe, which is still relevant. Ooh. Oh, what a incredible use of space. What a sense of dialing it back. I love that. This is a beautiful track. Oh my goodness. It's got such a nice groove to it, and it seems like it's just about the power of music, the healing factor in it. Ooh. Love all the detours you've taken in the sonic kind of soundscape here. Be a really good kind of night album, you know, when you tune in late at night. God, the backup vocals here, those why chants. There's a sense of pain in that. Feels like a right from the heart kind of track. Especially those cries, really, is what they are. Loving this. Both tracks I've heard so far, loved. These slower, more down-tempo sort of soundscapes we're hearing here are certainly a welcome addition after we've listened to so many funky, upbeat, really, you know, like jammy sort of soul music as of late. Whereas this dials things back greatly. It feels like a nice change of pace for Soul September. So let's keep it going. I Couldn't Love You More is this one. Nice piano and a slight synth there. It's kind of aquatic. This track is absolutely gorgeous in the composition. I feel like I'm getting lost in it. I also love the range that she's showing on this track vocally. And the sort of like, again, kind of upbeat nature of that synth. That sax. Oh my goodness. That sax is so beautiful. So ethereal. And I love that very kind of simple clap. Not overdoing anything. Also, lyrically, absolutely breathtaking, kind of like confessions of love throughout the album, especially this track. If everyone in the world would give me their treasure, I would not want for more than I have right now. That is breathtaking. That is a beautiful formation of words there. Sade perfectly encapsulates that feeling of infatuation and just pure unbridled love, you know, no matter what is offered to her, nothing can compare. Oh, we're still going. I thought I paused it, but we got a cat on the board. We got a cat on the board. Can we give this a pause, please? Bit of a technical difficulty there. It seems my cat. Can you show your lovely face, Nibble? He sat on the board. He started the song before we could start it. I guess he's just a big fan of Sade, which he's a pretty mellow cat. So I'm not too surprised, honestly. He likes jazz, after all. Let's go into Like a Tattoo, which this one, I am familiar with this one. I've heard this one. I love its sound. I love its atmosphere. But let's just get into it. 184 million streams. And that guitar work, somewhat kind of Latin infusion there. Love the kind of like reverb effects too on the instruments, giving it that dreamy atmosphere. Some sort of prisoner, perhaps? Oh, I like this elevation. Not sure what these lyrics about, but god damn, is it really crescending here. Oh. Dials it back. You expect like some sort of massive drop, but instead it goes for a bit of a detour. Sometimes it's really nice to be caught off guard. A beautiful track. I don't know what it's about lyrically. What's this track about? Because that's a gorgeous track, and lyrically it is beautiful. It's very poetic. It's very subtle. I feel like it's saying a lot without telling you exactly what it's about. So I am kind of curious. Over the course of the song, we learn that this soldier that Sade met shot and killed a man who had his hands up in surrender, an act that may have also been witnessed by a significant woman in the victim's life. But despite the soldier's egregious act, the intensity of his regret is only possible because of the empathy present in his heart, his love for humanity. What a beautiful... Well, I don't know if beautiful is a word. Harrowing, tragic, somewhat kind of beautiful sentiment in the empathy section, but brutal as well in its very kind of blunt message there. Great track. Let's keep it going to Kiss of Life. Ooh, we go from that really down-tempo tracks to something that feels a little bit more upbeat. A slight gleeiness in that piano. We're going right back to the sweet romance, considering those opening lines there. Oh, I've heard this track as well. I feel like this is a track that you hear at grocery stores, at least in my area, for some reason. It's very pretty, though. That sax being teased. That's Stuart Matthewman on the sax. I gotta say, Andrew Hale as well on the keyboards has been fantastic too. Pretty sure I've heard that sampled by MF Doom. Forget the track, but I could have sworn. Our man Stewart playing the sax right from his soul, right from his heart, really matching that energy of the track. Ooh, kind of like the play on words there. I like switching over those lyrics ever so slightly. I'm shocked at how few streams this have in comparison to some of the others, because I've heard this track many times, I feel like, in passing. Oh, this whole section was sampled by MF Doom for sure, which, I forget the name of the track. I'm going to put it here once again. I probably already put it there already. That's a great track as well. I like a real recognized real type situation, considering Sade, MF Doom, both legends. Gorgeous track. Absolutely gorgeous. You know, themes of love. I mean, I guess given the title of the album, Love Deluxe, the themes of love throughout this album have been so just strong, so cohesive, really just like poetic and gorgeous and sensual. Continuing, let's go into Cherish the Day. We haven't explored trip hop too much on this channel. Something that certainly needs to be corrected, because it is a really great genre that I feel like is underrated, especially in today's age. And I definitely need to check out Portishead once again, because I didn't give him a fair chance. Continually singing the praises of this lover throughout the album. Love when she really pushes her vocal like that before dialing it back. And with such ease. Oh. Can't tell if that's like a bass or a synth, but either way, this track 6. It could be Paul Denman on the bass. Such a deep tone, I love it. Really good rhythm to it. It's like a sense of control from this lover, you know? Completely giving herself over. Oh. I like this. Like a heartbeat? Whatever that effect is. Oh my god, these washed out guitars. Love that effect. So dreamy, so otherworldly in its tone. Honestly, once again, very consistent album, very beautiful track. Not too much to say about that one other than it just feels like, you know, Sade doesn't miss. Let's go into Pearls. I think the pacing too of this record is fantastic. I feel like track by track, it kind of flows from one to the next with a sense of ease. No track feels too long either. It's a slower record, but it can let go and be a little bit more upbeat when it chooses to be. I like these strings too. adding a slight cinematic feel to it. Themes of economic struggle, perhaps, once again. This like type of soul, this brand of soul, honestly, I don't think I've ever heard anything like it in the soul genre so far. I feel like Sade is so unique, you know, that trip hop flair to it. Oh. Such a harrowing kind of call. Such a cinematic vibe to this track. String arrangements, Nick Ingman. Oh, and that cello by Tony Pleath. That's what I'm really channeling in on this track. It's certainly a nice addition. Another fantastic track in the bag. Sade, where have you been all my life? This is a beautiful album. Absolutely gorgeous album. Let's go into Bulletproof Soul. Who's our other vocalist here? He harmonizes quite well with Sade. I'm assuming that's Mr. Leroy Osborne. Comparisons of Love to a Gun. I feel like I've been around for ages. Nothing necessarily new in that territory, but certainly works within the realm of speaking of love throughout this album. I do like this track, but I do think it's one of my least favorites so far, just because I feel like we've kind of heard this kind of entire range in this track already throughout the album. But I guess I could say it's certainly consistent. I love the washed out sax too, though, throughout the album. It's remind me a lot of kind of like Bowie's great kind of use of sax throughout his discography. Some of his albums kind of washed out in that background. Adds a very just dreamy, otherworldly flair. Let's go into the final track here, Mermaid, which perhaps just an instrumental. No lyrics are appearing. The least amount of streams, which, if it's an instrumental, kind of makes sense, but let's just... Oh, I like this. Again, very aquatic in nature, very ambient focus of this track and album. I'm a sucker for instrumentals. I'm a sucker for texture. Which this track is given. Oh, that shimmery. This deserves more streams for sure. Because this is a beautiful, beautiful finish to the album. Oh. Those bongos. Again, like a good sense of reverb on them too. Really add to that echoey, washed out, hazy effect of the LP and the track. I feel like we're floating deep under the ocean. Deep in the ocean, I should say. Stuart Matthewman. I'm assuming that's you on the guitar and the sax on this track. Just like incredible how much texture, how much layering this track has. It's otherworldly. Incredible instrumental, certainly a necessary track in the track list. That feels like a just a beautiful finale that captures the entire LP's atmosphere in a short 4 minutes. You know, you feel like you are floating, ascending, descending maybe, deep in the ocean, and it's so, I don't even know how to describe it. That's a gorgeous track. That is a gorgeous, gorgeous track. That is maybe the best track, this might be bold, instrumentally on this album, which is saying a lot because I feel like this album as a whole, instrumentally, production-wise, is so beautiful from start to finish. Weakest track, maybe, gun to my head, would be Bulletproof Soul. And like I said, I feel like it's just because it's more of the same of what you kind of get with the rest of the tracks, but I don't know, I feel like that would grow on me, and I feel like given how consistent this record is from start to finish, probably one of the best albums we've listened to for Soul September, which is saying a lot. We've listened to some great albums this month for sure, but whoever suggested this one, I had a few suggestions, but I know somebody in particular suggested it pretty early on. You know, thank you to my viewers as always, because some really great albums, and this is certainly one of them. Love Deluxe, Sade, 92 record, 45 minutes long. Honestly, completely captures my attention the entire time. It is so ethereal. It is so beautiful. It captures the themes of love in just about every direction, and also has some politically charged tracks of the time that I think kind of capture the human spirit, specifically in the 90s of that era, but it still feels very timeless. This is such a wholly unique record. I feel like there's no other artist I can think of that captures that sense of soul and trip hop and R&B in the way that Sade seems to on this record. I've never heard something of this kind of quality and caliber within this set of genres. Super specific, it feels like. I feel like anyone that would try to do this would just feel like a knockoff or a copy of Sade. So, shout out to Sade for making something, the band, making something super unique and original that is, in a way, kind of like hard to ever even be influenced by or really to attempt to replicate, because this is a great record. I also love how much this album really can mellow out when it chooses to. It can really take its time to develop a track, especially like that opener, No Ordinary Love, while at the same time other tracks kind of hit you right with a more upbeat nature to sort of offset what could potentially end up being a lengthy, prolonged sort of build up. It doesn't feel like this album ever meanders, is what I'm trying to say. Well, I meander. But I'm kind of just speechless on this one. But that does it for today's video. If you like this video, please hit like, subscribe to follow along and listen to more soul records. We're getting closer to the end of the month, meaning we're closer to the end of Soul September. With that being said, the next album we're going to cover is Erykah Badu's album Mama's Gun, which is a bit more of a lengthy project, but I'm looking forward to it because I've heard many great things about that record as well. As always, my name is Randy Joe. I appreciate you watching, and I'm signing off. I know. Did you want to say something? You want to say something? Oh. Okay. I agree. Hi, Mr. Man.